You ever get the feeling that Star Wars is trying to quietly fix itself when no one's looking? Like the movies spilled red punch all over the white carpet, and now the shows are on their hands and knees scrubbing with a sad little sponge. One minute you're watching Mandalorians flying around with jetpacks, and the next someone's whispering about cloning technology and mysterious DNA strands like we're in a sci-fi courtroom drama. It's wild how subtle they're trying to be about it. Like, hey, we're not saying this is about Palpatine, but here's a flashback, and a secret lab, and a project named Necromancer. Don't worry though, totally unrelated. Just some casual side plot stuff, with no connection to the worst trilogy finale in modern cinema. Just a weird coincidence, like 30 of them in a row. And it's everywhere now, from the Bad Batch to Ahsoka, to random side characters giving ominous speeches about something dark rising in the shadows. Star Wars went from epic space opera to one big group project, trying to explain why Grandpa is still alive after falling down a pit and exploding. They're retconning things so hard, they might need chiropractic care. And I get it, they have to make it work somehow. You can't just leave a billion-dollar trilogy sitting there like a half-eaten sandwich on the kitchen counter. Someone has to come along and wrap it in foil, put it in the fridge, pretend like it'll be useful later. But deep down we all know, that sandwich was bad the moment it was made. But what makes it so frustrating is how good some of these shows actually are. The acting, the visuals, the moments of real depth and character growth, it's all right there. Buried under this weird obligation to explain stuff we were never supposed to think about too hard. It's like finding a lightsaber in a dumpster and trying to polish it with lore glue. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on how Disney Plus shows are secretly doing PR cleanup for the sequel trilogy, why every subplot smells faintly of Palpatine, and how some of the best Star Wars content in years is being weighed down by a 3-movie mess no one really wants to talk about. Is it just me? Or does every Disney Plus Star Wars show now feel like it's playing cleanup duty? You sit down expecting a new adventure, a fresh take on the galaxy, and suddenly someone's whispering about cloning experiments and secret threats. Like, how did we go from bounty hunters and Jedi to a galaxy-wide retcon project disguised as television? Take The Mandalorian, for example. Season 1 was tight, focused, it had heart. But by Season 3, you've got Dr. Pershing giving a TED talk on cloning, and Imperial warlords talking about the return of someone powerful. Like, gee, I wonder who that could be. Maybe the rotting clone of the Emperor they forgot to explain in the movies. Then the Bad Batch throws in Mount Tantus, Nalase, Project Necromancer. And suddenly, we're not just talking about rogue science. We're laying the foundation for Palpatine's comeback tour. You can feel the writers tiptoeing around it, like they know people hated it. But they're still obligated to make it make sense. Even Ahsoka dipped into it with the Shadow Council, and Hux's dad talking about secret fleets. The sequels gave us the Final Order and planet-killing ships. And now the shows are reverse engineering the logic behind it. Like they handed us a finished jigsaw puzzle. But the pieces are upside down and wet, so now they're redoing it piece by piece. And that's what's so fascinating. These aren't just spin-offs anymore. They're sequels to the sequels. Every episode feels like it's answering questions nobody asked. And the real mystery isn't what happens next. It's what these shows are really trying to fix behind the scenes. Okay, but let's be real. It's starting to feel like homework, instead of moving forward. We're stuck filling in the blanks that the sequels left behind. Watching Star Wars used to be an escape. Now it's like assembling IKEA furniture without instructions, and the pieces are labeled somehow, and we'll explain it later. Moff Gideon was cool, until he became another guy obsessed with cloning himself. Dr. Pershing had an interesting arc, until it got hijacked by expository monologues on mitochondrial strands and secret memory wipes. Every time a show finds momentum, it slams into the same wall of how do we justify Palpatine's return. And don't get me started on the rise of Skywalker and its magic fleet of Death Star destroyers. The shows now have to bend over backwards to explain how those ships got built, hidden, staffed, and powered, and somehow, none of it was noticed by the New Republic, the Jedi, or literally anyone with a pair of eyes and a star chart. And honestly, it's kind of sad, because you can see the talent behind these shows, trying their best. The actors are great, the music is incredible, the production design is top tier, but they're all carrying this heavy burden of fixing what the sequels broke. And that weight shows in every line of dialogue that references something bigger. Characters like Grogu and Omega could have had clean, standalone arcs, but now they're subtly tied into Palpatine's resurrection plans, like they're not allowed to just exist. They have to serve the grand narrative patch job. It turns beautiful character moments into setup, and it cheapens the intimacy of their stories. Remember when Star Wars shows used to stand on their own? The Clone Wars added layers to the prequels, but it never felt like it was fixing them. It expanded the world, made it richer. Now we're in a place where new content is just trying to justify old mistakes. and that's heartbreaking. Even Andor, arguably the best Disney-era Star Wars project, has that looming pressure of fitting into the wider mess. It's not about fixing sequels directly, but even there, you feel the gravity pulling everything back toward this broken trilogy that sits like a black hole at the end of the timeline. There's a real sense of loss here, not just in terms of story or character, but in creative freedom. These shows could be bold, weird, personal, but instead, they're stuck cleaning up a mess they didn't make, and watching them strain under that pressure is just plain depressing. But despite all of that, there are still flashes of brilliance. Moments that remind us why we fell in love with this galaxy in the first place. The scenes of Mandalore in ruins, the eerie cloning labs in Bad Batch, the shadowy tension of the Council in Ahsoka. You feel the atmosphere, the danger, the weight of history pressing in. Giancarlo Esposito as Gideon is magnetic. Even when his dialogue veers into exposition territory, he brings presence, menace, charisma. He turns nonsense into gravitas. And when he steps on screen, you believe there's something big going on, even if you're still not sure what or why. And say what you will about Ahsoka, but the mystery of Thrawn and the outer regions has a kind of grandeur to it. The idea that the galaxy is still recovering, still fractured, still vulnerable to whatever's coming next, it adds scale, and that's something Star Wars always thrived on. Even the small moments shine. Dr. Pershing's episode in Coruscant had this creepy, slow-burn tone that felt like Andor light. Mount Tantis feels like something out of a Star Wars horror story. The visuals are cinematic, the design is thoughtful, the ambition is there, even when the storylines feel borrowed or forced. The best part is, it's not too late to change course. Just because the sequels stumbled doesn't mean every story has to serve them. Some of the most powerful moments in Star Wars came from unexpected corners. The shows can carve their own path, even if the timeline says otherwise. Take Andor again. It ignored the Skywalker saga entirely and gave us something raw and grounded. No Jedi, no lightsabers, just people caught in the gears of Empire. And it worked, because it didn't try to answer sequel questions. It asked its own, and trusted the audience to keep up. The Mandalorian could go back to that smaller scale. Din and Grogu exploring the galaxy, getting into trouble, meeting weird aliens and local legends. It doesn't need to be a sequel-prequel. It just needs to be fun, heartfelt, unpredictable. That's where Star Wars always shined brightest. Even the Bad Batch has room to breathe. The emotional arc of Crosshair, the mystery of Omega's identity. These are compelling threads that don't need to be tied to Palpatine's zombie clone campaign. Let them stand. Let them evolve. Let them finish their own stories. Star Wars fans are incredibly forgiving. They want to believe. They're ready to cheer, ready to invest, as long as the story respects their time. These shows don't need to fix the sequels. They just need to be bold enough to move beyond them and tell the kind of stories that made this universe matter in the first place. Here's the truth. The sequel trilogy left behind a mess. And now the Disney Plus shows are left sweeping up the shards. What should have been a fresh era has turned into a massive cleanup operation, one subplot at a time. And every time we see a cloning lab, or hear the words, Shadow Council, we're reminded of that failure. But the real tragedy isn't just what the sequels did. It's how much of Star Wars now feels tethered to them. Like a giant narrative anchor weighing down everything that comes after. Instead of being a launch pad for new stories, they've become a black hole, pulling every show into their orbit. Still, there's something resilient about this franchise, even when it stumbles, even when it fumbles the big picture. Fans find the light, in the characters, in the music, in those small moments that still hit like they used to. Star Wars always finds a way to survive, even when the story loses its way. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video, blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows. And Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games, like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.